everyone, this is Fen Lee, designer here at the Bead Flora studio. This is part 3 of a series of videos on making French beaded small sunflowers. In part 1, I went over the design process. In part 2, I showed you how to make the petals using 2 techniques. The technique I developed called the continuous split basic and Lauren Harpster's continuous basic frame. Originally, I was going to end it at part 3, but this episode would run incredibly long if I did that, so surprise! There's going to be a part 4. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make the sepals. You'll be able to see the small nuances that are slightly different when making the petals than making the sepals using the continuous techniques. I'm going to show you how to make sepal A using the continuous split basic technique. And I already have some green beads already strung on 24 gauge green wire. The pattern calls for an 11-inch top basic wire. So let's measure that out. And we're going to do a 3 bead basic, 3 beads here, and then 6 beads in the basic loop. So I have about ½ inch of twisted wire here. You probably don't need that much, but we'll adjust it later. So we have a 3 bead basic with an 11-inch top basic wire, ½ inch twisted wire, and 6 beads in the basic loop. Again, like I showed you in the previous video, let's wind up the top basic wire here, just so that it is easier to manage. Just gonna pinch this down here. You can also use a paper clip to clip it together. And this is going to be a pointed top and a rounded bottom. Turn the petal around to the back, take the top basic wire, bend it down along the petal here, or leaf sepal, and then take the top basic wire, bring it over the base, and bring it beneath the twisted wire here, right at the base here. Now, remember last week I had you take the working wire and the top basic wire and twist it down to the end of the twisted wire here. We are not going to do that today. We are just going to make the twisted wire right next to the first sepal here. And we're going to need to know how much twisted wire we need here. And to do that, again, we're going to turn it to the back and look at the twisted wire right here. How much space do we need? So take your ruler and measure out your twisted wire here. That is about 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch. And your twisted wire length may vary from mine depending on your beading style, obviously. So that looks about good. I'm gonna do this here. A little bit more or less is not gonna hurt. So, all right, so now what we're going to do is unwind the top basic wire here. And put 3 beads onto the top basic wire. Redo the knot, recoil, and make another sepal. And now I'm going to keep going until I have 5 sepals. I want to show you another trick. You don't have to keep stringing the beads on if you don't want to. Just string the amount of beads that you need for the rest of the sepals. So that's what, 3 sets. And at the top here, just take these, just move it to the top and put it in the loop, so that way you don't have to keep restringing. So that will work better for you. Do that. I normally do that just so that I don't have to keep restringing. So for this one, I twisted just a little bit too much of the twisted wire than normal, and that is fine. It's not going to blow up. It's fine. Okay. So now I have all 5 of the sepals done. So take the top basic wire and once again bend it along the back and wrap it around the base. So now this top basic wire is one of the tail wires. And like I showed you last week, we're going to maneuver this working wire so that it is on the right hand side. And because I twisted too much of this twisted wire, I need to untwist it. And divide the beads so that there are 3 on each side. Cut at the top. Make a loop on each. And now we are ready to make the last 2 sepals on the split basic. All right, now we have all of the sepals done, so let's cut another tail off of the spool. And finish the last 2 petals as we would normally. And because we're going to have the back of the sepals facing inwards towards the sunflower, let's have the backs facing up. And take the working wire and bring it down. And twist the wires here. Normally we would twist the other way, we would twist over here. But because of the way that the sunflowers, the sepals for the sunflowers will be facing, we're going to move the working wire down here. All right, so let's reposition the one of the tail wires just so that it'll be a lot more stable when we assemble. So just wrap it around the base of the petal across from the first wire here. So now we have a wire on each side. For sunflower A and for sunflower B, I made the sepals using the continuous split basic technique. For sunflower A, there are 7 sepals, and for sunflower B, there are 8 sepals. Now I'm going to show you how to make the sepals for Sunflower C using Lauren Harpster's continuous basic frame technique. And I'm going to leave about a 3-inch tail. Again, just eyeball it. And the pattern calls for a 3-bead basic. Let's get 3 beads over here. And if you remember, we make the twisted wire over the beads. About 1 inch for the twisted wire here. And the pattern calls for pointed tops and rounded bottoms. So this is the top here on the twisted wire. I'm going to start with a rounded bottom here on the bottom wire here. Now we are ready to make the sepal right next to the first one, and we're going to look on the back to look at the length of the twisted wire here. And that is about 1/4 inch. And we do want to leave a little bit more space than 1/4 inch, just a little bit, just slightly more. I will show you in a minute why we want to do that. And for these sepals, we are making 6 rows. And we want that little bit of extra space right there. Bring it to the middle and bring it down. Now you wonder why? Why can't it be exactly 1/4 inch? Because if we do it 1/4 inch and we don't have that extra space, you're going to get a jumbled mess. It would be okay if we were doing maybe like around, I don't know, 5 or 6. It's fine. But if we're going to do 10, and if you don't leave that little bit of extra space for the petals, just so that they have room, you know, just kind of social distancing. Have the petals social distance from each other. Okay, right? Just give them some distance from each other, or they're going to become one giant jumbled mess. This is sick. All right, so maybe about a little bit less than 1/2 inch. If it's a little bit more, it's not going to be a big deal. I'm going to keep going until I have 10 of these. Now I have all 10 of these sepals done, so let's cut another tail off of the spool. So let's cut the top twisted wires here. Bend them all back. Now take the ending tail wires and twist them at the base. Make sure that we have the wrong side facing up, just slightly. And we're going to reposition one of the tail wires. Let's just pick this one here. I hope you will give these new techniques a try. In next week's video, I will make the center, the leaves, and assembly. If you make this or any of my designs, I would love to see them. Connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, or my website at beadflora.com. Lauren and I started a new Facebook group called Learn French Beading. Come join us if you haven't already. I'll put a link in the description below. If you found this tutorial helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!